Hello, BookTube. Who's up for a mail haul? Tell you the honest truth, I'm not quite sure that I am. I have a mail haul here, and the vibe I'm getting off it is so blah. It's barely registering on my spidey sense at all. I'm wondering if this entire mail haul will contain only duds. I'm not sure that hasn't happened that often on this channel. But I could be wrong. So that could just be the eclipse talking. So let's see. Let's start with this first one here. It'd be nice if we had a contradiction right out of the gate. That would be great. What is this first one? Okay. This is by Tor Udall. Comes out in late August. It's called 1,000 Paper Birds. Kind of a pretty cover. It's a poetic, tender story about 5 intertwined lives set against the backdrop of Kew Gardens. After the death of Audrey, 4 people are left to seek solace in the beautiful gardens, an oasis of comfort in the otherwise chaotic city of London. That part I can attest to. Her husband Jonah is unmoored by her death, battling with the possibility that she may have committed suicide. Chloe spends time in the garden folding origami as a kind of meditation. Harry Barkley catalogues the plants. Millie is a whimsical, bright 8-year-old girl who doesn't seem to belong to anyone. As the story progresses and Audrey's own tragic story unfolds, Udall skillfully leads us through the tangled maze of characters, creating a beautifully woven tapestry of grief, loss, and love. This is a debut novel that certainly judging just by the pub sheet, sounds like it's carved entirely out of cliches. But the book might be different. So we certainly did not start with a contradiction right out of the gate. Let's move on. Let's see what the next one is. This one is odd. It's just the vibe off all of it. Ordinarily, I could be wrong. We'll persevere here. Oh, okay. Oh my. All right, this is by this comes out in, when does this come out? Mid-November. It's by Michael Laramie, and it's King William's War, with the subtitle being The First Contest for North America, 1689 to 1697. Michael Laramie is the author of a few books of colonial-era military history. Let's see here. While much has been written on the French and Indian War of 1754 to 1763, the colonial conflicts that preceded it have received comparatively little attention. Yet in King William's War, the first clash between England and France for control of North America, the patterns of conflict for the next 70 years were formed, as were the goals and objectives of both sides. And the realization that the colonies of the two nations could not exist together. Oh, all right. Oh my, very nice. Okay. I haven't read a book on King William's War, and I don't know how long. All right, good. Excellent. Oh my. Okay. All right, so we're 1 for 2. Let's keep going. Well, all right. Well, mark this on the calendar that Steve's intuition is not always right, and his spidey sense is often wrong. This next one is by Catherine Tempest, and it's a biography of Brutus, the noble conspirator. Oh my. All right. Well, I'm wrong. Although, who knows? There's 10 more packages. Maybe they're all duds. This is a compelling new portrait of Marcus Brutus, delves behind the ancient evidence to set aside the myths that surround the ancient world's most famous assassin. Conspirator and assassin, philosopher and statesman, promoter of peace and commander in war, Marcus Brutus was a controversial and enigmatic man even to those who knew him. His leading role in the murder of Julius Caesar on the Ides of March immortalized his name forever, but the verdict on his act remains out to this day. Was Brutus wrong to kill his friend and benefactor, or was he right to place his duty to country ahead of personal obligations? You're just waiting, aren't you, for me to go off? I'm not going to do it. You're waiting. I can tell. I can hear you saying, well, it's not all that hard a conflict. Not going to do it. People are enablers. All right, let's move on here. We're doing fine now, so my predictions are by the board here. Oh, okay. All right. Well, it was fun while it lasted. This is Elena Ferrante. This is Frantumaglia, a writer's journey. The title is the Neapolitan word passed down to Elena Ferrante by her mother. Literally, it means a jumble of fragments. But to Ferrante, Frantumaglia is also the sadness, loss, and beautiful bewilderment that fractures and unites everyday life. Want a little more? Let's do a little more. The kind of profound sentiment that distinguishes her decades-long career as an author. Okay. Steve's reached his limits. I'm very happy, of course, for that Elena Ferrante is a multimillionaire, but I came to her on the strength of the gigantic tidal wave surge of buzz. And I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have tried to get to her before the buzz, because, oh my God, I did not find anything buzzworthy, to put it mildly. Let's move on. Although, it's just occurring to me that somewhere out there is bound to be at least one big Elena Ferrante fan. And that fan may want Frantumaglia, and if you do, you just sing out in the comments field. It's all yours. Let's see here. Okay, this next one almost didn't reach me intact. It's An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. That is the cover right there. It's a person's face. Aster has little to offer folks in the way of rebuttal when they call her an ogre and a freak. She's used to the names. She only wishes there was more truth to them. If she were truly a monster, she'd be powerful enough to tear down the walls around her until nothing remained of her world. Aster lives in the lower deck slums of the HSS Matilda, a space vessel organized much like the antebellum South. For generations, Matilda has ferried the last of humanity to a mythical promised land. On its way, the ship's leaders have imposed harsh moral restrictions and deep indignities on dark-skinned sharecroppers like Aster. Embroiled in a grudge with the brutal overseer, Aster learns there may be a way to improve her lot if she's willing to sow the seeds of civil war. Huh. Okay. So this comes out in early October. It'll be full of science fiction world building. So it's wrong. It'd be unfair to judge it ahead of time. Don't know how you could be a sharecropper on a generation vessel, but I'm sure the book will handle that first. So let's move on here. What is this next one? Oh no, it's Grey Wolf. It'll be intriguing, but it'll probably be outside of my wheelhouse. Yeah, this is poetry. Advice from the Lights by Stephen Burt. This is Stephen Burt, who also goes by Steph and Stephanie, is professor of English at Harvard University and the author of several previous books of poetry, as well as literary criticism. Okay. All right. Our momentum has been checked. And almost checkmated. Let's see if we can get it back. Let's see what this next one is. Eclipse Monday. Oh my. Okay. All right, this comes out in February of next year. This is A Wilder Time, Notes from a Geologist at the Edge of the Greenland Ice. Greenland, one of the last truly wild places, contains a treasure trove of information on Earth's early history embedded in its pristine landscape. Over numerous seasons, William Glassley, that's the author of the book, and two fellow geologists traveled there to collect samples and observe rock formations for evidence to prove a contested theory of plate tectonics, the movement of Earth's crust over its molten core, is as much more ancient process than some believed. As their research drove the scientists ever farther into regions barely explored by human for millennia, the author encountered wondrous creatures and natural phenomenon that gave him unexpected insights into the origin of myth, virtues of boundaries of science, and the importance of seeking the wilderness within. Okay. Ordinarily a little distrustful of scientists who allow their books to be described this way, but maybe he dictated it himself. It's, wow, good lord. All right, well, there's a huge amount of publicity material here, but it doesn't come out for a while, so I don't have to pay attention to it this year. I very much don't pay attention, this close to the end of the year, I don't pay attention to next year, because I've got enough on my plate taking care of this year before it's over. There's this next one here. Okay. This is another nature thing. This comes out in mid-October by Peter Fines, and it's Oak, Ash, and Thorn. Isn't that lovely? There's no dust jacket. This is just artwork on the naked hardcover. The Ancient Woods and New Forests of Britain, in a lovely hardcover. When the British government announced plans to sell off up to 150,000 hectares of English forest and woodland in 2010, it ignited an immediate and impassioned fight against the proposal. Even today, the British people continue to have deep love for their woods, which have inspired countless myths, stories, and poems throughout time. The author celebrates the beauty and mystery of Britain's woods while also closely examining present issues of ownership, access, power, and property. Okay. Boy, I would love to... This is by One World. I would love to know if this looks this way in the UK, or if it even has a UK edition. Very nice. All right, so that comes out in mid-October. A meditation on Britain's forests. Very nice. Then we've got this next one here. What is this? We're getting down to the end, so don't you worry. Oh. Okay. All right, this is Michael Rosen. This is The Disappearance of Emil Zola. And the subtitle is A Story of Love, Literature, and the Dreyfus Case. On the early morning of July 19th, 1898, Emil Zola, the pioneer of literary naturalism and the author of a host of international bestsellers, disembarked from a train that had taken him from northern France to London, carrying nothing more than a nightshirt wrapped in a newspaper and the name of a local hotel on a piece of paper. He was there because of fallout from the Dreyfus affair, a political scandal that had torn the country in two. Okay, it's an author and a time period and a subject that does not interest me much at all. I suppose the author could still do wonders with it, but that brings us to this last one, which is vacuum packed. One of these vacuum packed things here. Oh, okay. All right, this is the finished copy of Laura Spinney's Pale Rider, which I didn't have the luxury of waiting for. I had to review it quickly for the National in Abu Dhabi. And ordinarily, when I'm reviewing a work of nonfiction, I like to wait for the finished copy just so I can double and triple check the sources. But my editor was in a bit of a hurry. and certainly, if the editor's in a bit of a hurry and is of the paying disposition, Steve doesn't need any time at all to talk about the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. No time at all. It's just a question of thoroughness, that's all. But I'm pretty sure the review would pass muster with just about anyone, including the author. So I'll gladly put the finished copy on the shelf. Great. I was actually checking it for the publication date. The publication date doesn't matter in this case, so there's no reason for me to check when this comes out, because I've done my duty by it. I read it months ago, and I reviewed it, and there you go. And I liked it. I liked it very much. So we have kind of a vindication. It's not a complete vindication, but there were a lot of duds here, and a lot of just non-pluses, even if they're good. So we have Pale Rider, with The Disappearance of Emil Zola. We have Oak and Ash and Thorn, Natural History Meditation on the Forests of Britain. We have Advice from the Lights by Stephen Burt, which is a collection of poetry. Then An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. A Wilder Time by William Glassley. Frantumalia by Elena Ferrante, the much celebrated Elena Ferrante. Brutus, a new biography of Brutus. King William's War, that is certainly the highlight for Steve. That is the one that I will read before I read any of these others. And A Thousand Paper Birds by Tor Udall. There you go, and that is our mail haul for today. I'm still not exactly sure how I feel about it. I will examine some of these things and see if maybe my general estimation goes up. But in the meantime, I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.